Why is Pluto not a planet anymore? Does this upset you, or has justice finally been served?
So I get asked this all the time. I think all planetary scientists get asked about Pluto, especially by kids who would just love for Pluto to still be a planet. But the reality is, when we first discovered Pluto, it was a unique object in the outer solar system, and we thought, we were adding a planet to the inventory of planets that we had. And then over time, it became clear that Pluto was not a unique large object in the outer solar system, that there were actually many of these. And as we started discovering more and more of them, we realized that the concept of Pluto being a planet didn't make sense unless maybe we added all the rest of them as planets. So, you could have imagined actually a different direction that this could have gone, where all the other objects that were discovered in that belt, or at least all the ones, let's say, above a certain size, became planets instead of Pluto being declassified. But we're now aware of many objects out there in the outer solar system and what's called the Kuiper belt that are of the same size, or in some cases even larger than Pluto. So the declassification was really just a realization that it was not in the same category as the other planets in the solar system, and we basically needed to refine our definition in such a way that took into account that there's this belt of debris out there in the outer solar system of things with a range of sizes.
Is there a hope for clear categorization of what is a planet and not? Or is it all just gray area? When you study planets, when you study moons, satellites of those planets, is there lines that are that could be cleanly drawn, or is it just a giant mess? Is it all like a fluid? Let's say not mess, but it's like fluid of what is a planet, what is a moon of a planet, what is debris, what is asteroids, all that kind of.
So there are technically clear definitions that were set down by the IAU, the International Astronomy Union.
Is it size related? Like, what are the parameters based on
So the
what?
parameters are that it has to orbit the sun, which was essentially to rule out satellites. Of course, this was a not very forward-thinking definition because it technically means that all extrasolar planets, according to that definition, are not planets. So it has to orbit the sun. It has to be large enough that its gravity has caused it to become spherical in shape, which also applies to satellites and also applies to Pluto. The third part of the definition is the thing that really rules out everything else, which is that it has to have cleared out its orbital path. And because Pluto orbits in a belt of material, it doesn't satisfy that stipulation.
Why didn't it clear out the path? It's not big enough
Right.
to knock everybody out of the way.
And this actually is not the first time it has happened. So Ceres, when it was discovered, Ceres is the largest asteroid in the asteroid belt, and it was originally considered a planet when it was first discovered, and it went through exactly the same history, where people actually realized that it was just one of many asteroids in the asteroid belt region, and then it got declassified to an asteroid, and now it's back to a dwarf planet. So there is a lot of reclassification. So to me, as somebody who studies solar system objects, I just personally don't care. My level of interest in something has nothing to do with what it's classified as. So my favorite objects in the solar system are all moons, and frequently when I talk about them, I refer to them as planets because to me they are planets. They have volcanoes, they have geology, they have atmospheres, they're planet-like worlds. And so the distinction is not super meaningful to me, but it is important just for having a general framework for understanding and talking about things to have a precise definition.
So you don't have a special romantic like appreciation of a moon versus a planet versus an asteroid. It's just an object that flies out there, and it doesn't really matter what the categorization is. Like, because there's movies about asteroids and stuff, and then there's movies about the moon. Whatever, is a really good movie. There's something about moons that that's almost like an outlier. Like, you think of a moon as a thing that's the secret part, and the planet is like the more like vanilla regular part. None of that? You don't have any of that?
No, I actually do. The moons are my favorite things in the solar system. And I think part of what you're saying, I agree from maybe a slightly different perspective, which is from the perspective of exploration. We've spent a lot of time sending spacecraft missions to planets. We had a mission to Jupiter, we had a mission to Saturn, we have plenty of missions to Mars and missions to Venus. I think that exploration of the moons in the outer solar system is the next frontier of solar system exploration.